if there was a hypothetical situation where you knew that you had knowledge of a clear illegal act going on, what do you think would be the trials and tribulations of actually reporting them? Like, what, from a therapist's perspective, if they have to report somebody, what are the difficulties in doing that?
Well, it's a pretty clear cut, procedure where you go ahead and you write up all the documentation and then you submit it to the board. Then the rest is up to the board. Um, Coming from a smaller community, if it's found out that you have done something like that against a colleague that's also within the same community, that could be problematic. Yeah, definitely. I didn't get any pushback about what I did with this person. First of all, it wasn't public knowledge, but second of all, the two or three people that I talked to, like my own supervisor and another colleague, they were like on board with me. They were like, yes, definitely, just document everything and go from there. So I think the major thing is when you're in a smaller community, you can be targeted for like, well, why'd you do that? I think there's still kind of that mentality that you protect your own to a certain extent.
Yes,
Yeah.
I was just going to say, yeah. I don't know if it's known or unknown that often colleagues don't report other colleagues, and that's kind of what I was wanting to pick your brain about is why, what are the reasons other than the obvious ones like is there retaliation, harassment, those kinds of things?
I would imagine that there probably is, to a certain extent. We're in a profession where we are supposed to be, highly ethical and that kind of stuff. And there's a fear if you report something like that, that's going to tarnish the reputation of the counseling profession. I think that there's a definite fear of that. Um, I have no problem with, if I see something ethical, I'm going to call it out. I mean, there's been a couple of students, more than a couple, that where I've just kind of had a heart-to-heart talk with them and said, no, this is not right. So, yeah.
Good for you.
Well, they didn't like me very well, but
Yeah.
my job is not to be liked, okay? It's to help them grow and to point things out. And
What were some of the things they were doing that you had to talk to them
oh,
about?
one was where they had their own trauma history, and it was kind of like, well, they didn't use these words, but it was kind of like, well, you think you've had trauma. Hear my story. Kind of, there's the blurring of the boundaries in that regard, well, you think you have it bad, well, hear mine kind of thing. You don't do that as a counselor. You're supposed to be there to help that person, not the role reversal kind of stuff. So
That's horrifying to me.
it isn't, isn't it?
Even
I
though I
mean,
know it's common, but it's just